Hello and welcome to We, Me and Us. We are delighted to have you here as we dive into the exciting journey of leading, coaching and transforming organizations in our rapidly changing world. I'm Pierre Neis, your host and Agile Coach. I'm truly passionate about sharing real-world insights with those eager to create meaningful change. At We, Me and Us, we're all about exploring new tools and perspectives that inspire impactful transformation. Let's embark on this journey together. Hello guys, welcome back to the We, Me and Us podcast. So today I want to talk to you about the role, the mission, the tools of an Agile Coach or even a Scrum Master. We talk about something very, very important. It's called the impediment backlog, on how to work with an impediment backlog. So maybe most of you have heard this. What is impediment? What are we talking about? So impediment is everything that blocks the progress of a team or on a project, right? Is you're stopped by anything, not always the skills and the knowledge, but maybe something based on what you're working, like the tools, about meetings, unplanned things, a lot of distractions that blocks you for progressing properly or blocks you for going towards the ideal way of working you're expecting. And to be honest, this happens all the time. And that's completely okay. But some are okay and some are more okay-ish, right? So I wrote this, a document I already shared on LinkedIn this week, and how to work with the impediment backlog. And I was thinking this can be very interesting for you guys, because this solved a lot of problems and with a couple of teams I used to work with. So the first time I came out to see these theoretical documents, one coming from Boris Glogger, long time ago. So I'm talking about something that happened over 10 years ago. I used to work with a team at the French National Research Institute, CNRS, and I came doing my job as a coach, meaning 1 day a week. They're usually largely enough to support them. And we have to see what's happening. So they're progressing quite well. They were not distracted a lot. But then you say, okay, we have something in a conversation with the team. Say, oh, there's a couple of things we are not able to reach the expected velocity, or maybe our velocity is floating. Velocity is just the amount of work you can deliver. It's not a goal. It's not a KPI. It's a trend. It gives you a little bit the rhythm of the team, right? So our velocity is getting up and down. It was really a roller coaster. I say, oh, what is happening? So in the conversation with the team and the Scrum Master, we came out. There's a couple of things that are blocking them. I say, I had a guess, but usually I say nothing, because it's maybe not the right moment to tell it, right? So we, in a conversation, I try to identify what to do. I say, oh, what can we do? I say, oh, try a simple trick. The simple trick is like follows, is just record by creating a ticket in your system, or maybe in your visual board, or if you're using Jira, Azure DevOps or whatever, just create a ticket about the distraction. Oh yeah, but if we do this, we will make bio breaks as distractions. No, serious one, right? So let's say a distraction is something that consumes you more than 15 minutes of your time, right? This can be considered maybe as a distraction if you consider it as a distraction. If you, team member, you think it's not a distraction, I'm fine with that, right? So then you start the conversation, discussing with them and say, okay, so if you make this, you just register here. Yeah, but there's a lot of things outside of our scope. which are blocking us, but we are not able to say no because it can be badly understood or can be created tension we do not want. So yeah, that's not necessary. So just make it visible. Because if you think about Agile, the big power constraint of Agile is making work visible. And not only the work for software developers or for any kind, maybe marketing teams or even the board of directors using an Agile way of working, you have to be able to show up how the flow of your work is flowing, right? Or where are the blockers, where are the hindrances, what are the obstacles, the obstructions, whatever. And maybe you create also obstructions because under pressure, we're all going rogue, right? We are not doing always nice things. So actually we are on the panic mode. What's happening in panic mode? You're going in your reptilian brains. So everyone wants to reduce, to increase the control, reduce the liberties we had in the COVID times, not self-organized, is getting more power. It is like it is going back and forth. So once this is done and people understand it doesn't work, they will come back on something more in between, a mix of both. And that's okay. So we try to figure out, okay, what is blocking us? To say, okay, make it just visible in your system so we can understand what is blocking you. And if you make it available on your board, virtual board, sometimes we're using just Trello, not something super fancy, just something which is okay, right? We can see, and I won't bother you by asking all the time, where are you going? Can I help you? I just go on your board. I can see where the blockers are, and I can focus on the blockers. In fact, it was a quite nice trick that we discover on the go. Even if I'm reporting it, it's always team job. Is an outcome from a conversation. And even the Scrum Master, they were able to really to visualize the blockers, and without any disruption of the team members, they just take over the ownership of the blocker, try to solve it, and so far. So on the go, about the transparency, one of the problems I can see is that we are expecting transparency from the development team. Development team here, people developing the solution. Any kind, can be manufacturing, can be software, can be hardware, anything is called development. It's not only the development phase, it's developing from the idea to go live in production. This is the development phase, right? And in that part, we have to consider the whole system, not only the doers, but also the stakeholders. So when we say here, transparency, I have to go that far to say, okay, transparency is the context, and maybe the context to say, okay, this is the part that development team does. This is the problem we try to face. Here are external factors, which is not under our control. We need your support to get there. And if you don't change, it's okay. Just you have to understand this will be impeding, blocking, distracting the expecting outcomes, right? In fact, this is the conversation started. So when coming back to the CNRS, when we did it and had a call, I said, Pierre, we have a big review next week. I said, fine. And it's a review in front of the equivalent of the CEO of the company and all the directors, all the boards from the research institute. I say, okay, and I will try this. I say, oh yeah, please do. And let me know what happened. Then I knew what day, and then I called them back. How was it? They say, awesome. Awesome. How? I'll tell you. So when we started the sprint review, so by the way, sprint review is not only a demo. The sprint review, we consider it is as a user acceptance testing from the stakeholders. So it's more oriented. So we make a small demo on only the done functionalities, not about the technical stuff. Maybe if you have architects in it, you can come in the technical stuff. Maybe always starting with the functionality first. expecting and asking for feedback. I say, hey guys, this is what we did. What do you think? Give me feedback. Are you okay with that? Good. Do you want to take it away directly, or can you wait? Here's a better version, blah, blah. But we have to explain all of this. And they say, when we did this, I started to introduce the sprint instead of the product owners, because usually a review is all up to the product owner. So here, my Scrum Master started the presentation like, hey, this is how we worked. This was the sprint objective. And usually we expecting delivering 10 items in a week. But this week, we just delivered 6 items. And for the 100% of the time we used to work on this, we had obstacles on 40% of our time, and the obstacles are in these categories. I always use categories because it's not finger pointing. We just want to highlight the problems and not finger point to certain people, because we have to work together, and that's okay. So they made it. And they say, okay, if we had the working properly, instead of delivering 10, we were able to deliver 15. But okay, this is the context. So I, as a Scrum Master of that team, I try to solve this. And we are expecting maybe next week to do something else. So then they say, then I wanted to hand over to the product owner. They say, now I hand over this presentation to the product owner. And the CEO stand up and say, stop this. Can you come back to the slide? Because I presented the slide. And he say, what is that? He say, pointing the finger to the slide and looking at the directors. Very interesting. And then we have a conversation that nobody talks about in the Agile world, because usually we don't want it, because it's we are expecting keeping our contracts. If you have to be quite bold to say, sorry, I don't want to work with you, or you can get fired. Happened to me 2 times on 200. It's okay. That happens. That's it. And you explain the problems. You say, and then you jump in. Okay, can I Scrum Master? Hey, to whom can I go to talk to fix this? Right? You have to be always constructive. This helped. Everyone liked this approach. Even the Scrum Master was clever enough to avoid the conflict, even from the CEO with the other directors, to be very, very positive and say, okay, I understand there's a context. Can we talk together? With whom are you available? This was the feedback. Thank you so much. Now I hand over to the product owner. So in fact, we tried it a couple of times. Also, this was in France. I tried it in Germany. I tried in Brussels, in London, and also with people in Australia. And people usually like it because it's based not on emotion, it's based on fact and figures. So if I tell you a little bit more, if I'm going deeper in the conversation, I'll give you an example. So what is usually happening? So here, a story. Let's say my team has planned 2-week sprints to develop 3 major features for our customer. Because the whole Agile team used to work together like a family, like a brotherhood, right? And estimation was easy peasy. So the team was able to estimate, oh, we need this. Usually we do, this is maybe 10 day or maybe 10 points. So it sounds not to be that complicated. So it's just an 8. This is how they estimate in the conversation. And because the product owner knew this velocity, he was able to predict, okay, yes, sir, we are able to deliver 3 features in a 2-week sprint. It's technically feasible. It's a forecast. It's not written in stone. It's not signed with your own blood. It's always a forecast. So the team was okay, feeling quite comfortable. The product owner was comfortable. Everyone's comfortable. So arriving at the end of the sprint, only one of these 3 items is completed. What happened? So consequence of this, the product owner is afraid to show the results to the stakeholder. The development team start doubting on its capabilities. The customer is dissatisfied and raise doubt about the team's ability to achieve development. And management supports who? The customer, and blames the team and want to add more resources to the project because indeed, yes, more people you can achieve more. Well, we all know it's not true, but this is since the world of Disney World we are living in. That's how it is. It's not only is I'm living in that world since over 30 years. So what's happening there? So we don't want to have doubts. I come here with a very extreme example. I had exactly the opposite. With the French, we had a project between France and Africa, and we have a demo. The demo and the review went completely bad. The system are not working, nothing were working, but the customer was with us all the time. They knew the teams. They say, and the customer was calming down the team, say, hey guys, it's fine. You did well. It's not the big problem. I can see you. Let me know when it's ready. Send me a link so I can try to test out. So it was, and just the team was panicking and say, no worries. So here was very interesting. The customer is calming the team. And for me, I saw this as a very good bound between the customer and the team. So I say, hey teams, you're doing well. That's cool. So this is what we're looking for. Again, if I come back, rolling back on my example, when we try to deliver 3 stuff and we're able to deliver 1 stuff, and you have an increase doubting emerging from the crowd, and the people are asking, what is happening here? So in fact, when the teams have started to write down in small tickets all the 15 minutes they spend, with the Scrum Master at the end of the sprint, we collected all these tickets, and we collect the bunch of tickets to see how much time we lost just in impediments, just in distractions. And in fact, we discovered very, very interesting information, because you have all this and then you start grouping in some categories. So I discovered we had 35% time lost in support to other projects. You know, hey, this famous point. Hey, do you have fun? Can you help me? Yes. Can you work on this? Oh, yes. You say yes. But honestly, this is stealing the budget money from the current project for another project. And this happens very, very often. So when I'm coaching at a corporate level with finance people, I say we are talking funding money and the cash, I say this should not happen. So if we have stable teams, means stable budget, right? So if the teams are not stable, your budget is wrong. So you can ask every month to reduce 30%, you will be always right, but then nobody knows why you're doing it. So you have to be really rigorous on your money and your budget and the teams. So 35% of supporting other teams. Then we had 7% of project dependencies. So dependency between the team, because you always have dependency and you feel it's okay having dependencies. No, it's not okay. You're losing time. You're making huge risk on the project. So you should be, a team has to be end to end. Sorry, if you can't do it, there is something wrong in your system. There is somebody who's playing the wrong game, right? A team is independent for end to end, at least 0 dependency. You can have dependency, but those are exceptional. They are not the standard, right? So dependency is a huge amount of lost time. Then you have environment issues. We have IT environment who went down, or we have usually we have teams, big projects. When the teams are completely splitted, you have development handing over to a QA, handing over to production, and then you have environment issue because the team is developing into a sandbox, and the testing has a testing environment, and then is a pre-production environment, and none of these environments are equal, not following the same standards. So you have a problem with the environment. So we have environment issue, which usually is 50% of all the defects are merging up when you're not agile. You have data consolidation issue. That's traditional. That's very, very usual. So you have to take care. So also losing time in data management is also an impediment. Unplanned leaves. That's an okay impediment. An unplanned needs is your kids are sick. You have to take one day off to go to the doctor. That's okay, right? Or you're feeling sick. That's okay. This is okay impediments. Then you have the famous, hey, do you have 5 minutes? Can you come help me? Can you estimate me the project? This is terrible. And the last one is all the unplanned meeting. So maybe you usually heard Agile is a lot of meetings. It's just meetings over meetings over meetings. Let's be clear on that. So when you're doing a proper Kanban or a proper Scrum, you have all the necessary meetings planned. And this representing 15% of all the production time or productivity time, if you want to call it like this. But you have usually people are complaining. And then you do the exercise, check out all the meetings you have to attend. If you make an all hands meeting, why should you go there? You have one of 300 going to a meeting. You're just going there that your name is coming in the list so you don't be blamed by your boss. I can understand that. I did it. But that makes no sense. Meetings with architecture who have a great idea, on-plan, last-minute on-plan meeting. People pushing your meetings in your agenda. What the heck, right? So there's some kind of discipline that you have to have in Agile. Agile is great. You have a safe-to-fail experiment in a fail-safe container. So the container has limits. The limits is not do whatever meeting you want. I had teams. I came one from Lebanon to SAP when I used to live in Heidelberg. I came because we planned the whole day planning of 7 teams. And when I came there, nobody was there. I see what's happening. Oh, their line manager planned a golf meeting, a golf team meeting. Obviously, everyone went to the golf meeting. Say, what the heck? So even you have management not aligned what you're doing because they're using FTA management. They're managing just people, and this is how they get valued. And the result for the project will be the blame on the external consultant, me and a couple of others who were there. So it's unplanned planning. So you can say it was a full day for 90 people. This was the amount of impediments I recorded for that particular sprint. We lost barely a full day of 90 people. You can make the money. That's okay. And this is the thing you have to make not rudely, not as a source of conflict, but as a source of transparency. In a way, hey, this is the situation. What can we do to make it better? Right? Then you can initiate change. Oh, never forget, you can only start change if you notice there is something to change. If not, it's just theoretical, right? So this is about the timing. We can say, if you really understand pretty well that Scrum, the big trick on Scrum is just managing time, right? Scrum is a cadence, is the beat, right? Is a rhythm. You have a rhythm. So the team doesn't need to decide. We can say, okay, let's do 2 weeks. Because if you have 2 weeks and you have, let's say, 10 or maybe 100 teams, doesn't matter. You want to start the same day, ending the same day. Oh, it's maybe not cool for the teams, but it's avoid you hiring people just to get the data of everyone to get the alignment. So the team is they're all self-aligned. And it's okay if you're not able to finish work. Then we can understand properly how much work you can deliver in that limited time. And you can decision. So that's why Scrum is absolutely great. And then you have the planning part, you have the dailies, you have the review, and the retrospective. Retrospective is key. So it's not happening maybe once a month. It's do it every time, because this has to become a routine, right? So we know we don't like it. So if I work with a company called Euroclear, it was a bank of banks in Brussels. They were the mecca of Prince2 at least 10 years ago. Very, very, very smart people, very advanced people. Very good was with the Prince2 mecca, right? So they knew what to do. So I was there with internal audit to check out how the programs are working. It was an audit for the shareholders to see if the bank is working for the purpose of shareholders. So we can discuss on this. It was okay. And I discussed, usually a project starts with a business case, and the end, you have always finishing with lessons learned and benefits report. You can bet all the benefits report were missed and all the lessons learned were missed, even with these very high advanced people. So what do you think when you're doing this with people which are not that advanced, who just doing a by the way project management is, or you're engineer and you can be also project manager? Say, sorry, not the same job. It's like you could be a Scrum Master and a developer. Yes, you can be, but you can also be HR. You can be whatever you want. It's a different job, right? But if you understand this, you can understand where you can improve, what you can do better. All right. So Scrum, absolutely great. You really know what to do. You have the beat. When you make a planning of, you have 2 hours planning for a 2-week sprint, I stop sharp at 2 hours. It's timing. You don't continue 3 hours. If you're not able, if you don't have enough time in the 2 hours, it means you planned way too much. You don't need to make even a grooming. I'm not for the grooming part, right? Or the backlog refinements. This is something you have to do in the planning part, right? You can do it. It's an option, right? Like estimation meeting. These are optional. So you have to make at least a daily 15 minutes. This is rapid. And this is not a Scrum Master telling you what to do. It's you talking with your mates. Hey, I'm doing this. That's fine. Are you okay? I will bump against you today. Or can you help me with it? Or I partied last night. I'm not completely here. I just have one neuron left. I don't start something, but I can help you to finish something else. That's exactly what you want to learn. A daily is the team in front of the coffee machine and say, hello, cheers. How are you doing? How was yesterday? Lovely, cool. Good to see you. What can we do today? Then you make, this is the daily. The planning is the product owner explain what it is. You have the stakeholders in the meeting, so you can ask directly the question to them. You plan the work based on what you know. If you don't know, this is maybe something you need to learn during the sprint before committing to the work next time. So you never commit on work you don't know. That's a big mistake, happen all the time. Then you make the review. A review, again, is a user accepting testing of the small piece of work you deliver in a sprint. It's not a demo. Usually demo is a nightmare. Everyone hates a demo. And then the retrospective, and you're discussing about how the sprint was, what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to learn more or not, what you can improve, what you hate, high emotions, team building. Not the team building per se, it's the conflict in the teams. You have to spit it out, right? And then you see, how is the working process working? The workflow, is it okay or bad? Or we have just 5 columns in a Jira. The next time will be more complicated. Okay, let's add 5 more columns. Maybe the next time your Jira has even 12 columns. Now, if you have a Jira department or a Agile DevOps administrator who is blocking your progress, fire them. These systems, these tools should not blocking you the progress. If the teams needs it, the team should get it, right? And who is in charge? Typically, all my teams, we did at SAP, all the Scrum Master were the Jira leader or the Agile DevOps leader. Even the Agile Coach were the leaders of this. Nobody else were able to say it. I'm quite sure they stopped doing this, but you have to be strong to force this because it's not blocking. If somebody is blocking you, at the end, you don't see the consistency of the data you're working on, the tickets you're having, right? All right, this is for the transparency. Now, as people who Kanban fans say, oh, is this a Kanban possible? Yeah, honestly, if you take a look at Kanban now, it's pretty close of Scrum. And to be really honest, for me, a good Scrum is only working with Kanban. And Kanban is about the workflow. So all my boards is a Kanban board. Just a question, never take the Kanban board template in Jira. It's a nightmare. So you don't need to have a zillion of tickets in it. You don't know where to go. But use mostly the Scrum, which is a Kanban board but limited on time. Which things way better or more accurate. All right. So the point is how to do the point that as a coach I take care, and this is what I did the last 10 months with Kipu from Pro Credit Group, is we mostly in the definition of done of the transformation was please help everyone in the company to learn how to say no. And no is not no now forever ever. No means not yet. It's at this moment, please no. It's maybe a yes next week. Today I say no. And the no is sometimes it's very complicated to say it. So if you make it visible, it becomes obvious. And if you say the blockers visible in your board and you share the board and everything you can see, I give the hyperlink to the boards so all the stakeholders can watch it on a real time so they can see how it works. And then you can see the blockers. You can identify the blockers very early on. Then you can fix it. So in categories, what are the usual impediments? So one is about the vision and the goal, which are not understood by the team members. So maybe you don't have visions. It was just do this. If your team, your backlog, your product backlog becomes a team backlog, so you make, please do the development of the new version, but please also support the 10 over older versions and make also the support. So in fact, it becomes a big melting pot, using a product backlog or team backlog as an excuse just to allow people multitask and working like a support team, right? So vision goal is clear and you have to stick to the goal. If the organization is complex, so which you can understand, you have resistance to calm down. Some managers, mostly the architect, no, not really. The architect are usually playing badly, and they want to change everyday things. They say, no way, my sprint is protected. So if you can't, then you ask, are you able to stick to your idea or not coming to change your scope in 3 months? This is way too complicated. Okay, let's do 1 week. Under a 1 week, I cannot do. So in very, very complicated behavior part, which is not behavior because people are behaving badly, they usually have a good reason to do it. But we say, okay, guy, at least the sprint is blocked for 1 week. So very 1 week sprint is not typically by the book, but this is in high complex, high complicated environment. This helps also the managers or maybe the requester to learn more how to prepare this. And this is where usually the Agile coaches and the Scrum Master are working with the producers or maybe directly with these people to coach them, to help them to prioritize their work, right? This is a nice job in the periphery of the teams because that work will help the team and you're protecting the team also from this dependency. It's not protecting about pushing back. It's protecting by helping the stakeholders to work with you. We had also another impediment part is the team has no dedicated team space. So if you're on a virtual team, so virtual team space is an allocated, let's say Jira, an allocated whatever tool you're using, Azure DevOps or Rally software, any kind, has to be one dedicated per team. And what we see often is you have this and you have your ticketing system and you have MS Teams. You have demands coming from everywhere. So even the information is not highly transparent, is coming barely from everywhere, which is bad. And then there's another point is the product backlog is not being prioritized on business value. So business value is defined by the business or defined by the customer and not by the developers. All the delivery stakeholders are not member of the delivery team, so we don't have an end-to-end team. Scrum Master work on other tasks and can't be fully dedicated to the delivery team. This is typically when you say, oh, you're Scrum Master and you have to be a developer too. In fact, you're just developing and from time to time you're doing the Scrum Master or have Scrum Master doing QA work until that took 1 year to understand it's impossible to do it, right? So you have to be Scrum Master as a full-time job. The team is way too large. So we have teams 15, 10, 12. So usually over 9 Over 9, you can see one can hide. So just have small teams. The rules of Agile are interpreted all the time, not respected. Management coming, oh, do this, do now. We are changing scope every day. Or you can do it. You are Agile. I'm not. I don't care. Do it. This is unacceptable, right? And the backlog is not properly estimated. There's a couple of very, very simple tools to understand how it works. But what is quite interesting to understand, so what are we doing with all of this? So if you're going on if you are running in a sprint, we have this kind of impediments. You highlighted here. If you have multiple teams, we are gathering once a week, 1 day or 1 hour, not 1 day, 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, with all the other Scrum Master and Agile Coach and the management to discuss on the impediments. The discussion is mostly on the way is, hey, I have this issue in my team. Did you have the same issue on your team? Say, oh, maybe someone say, yeah, I did it here. You can solve this, or go to meet this guy or this lady. They know how to fix it, or thank you. This is how collectively we try to solve the problem. If you can't solve the problem, and this happened quite a lot, like there's contract issues, third-party contract issues. Your developer is working in India, has 5 managers, and your developer is not properly working as a team member. Officially, you think it does. In reality, is working on 7, 8 other projects and programs. So it's not fully dedicated. So you have to be able to say, no, Razila, you have to work with me 100%. You say not to her. You say to all the manager, she is working for us now, and stop doing this. So we have to be empowered. And sometimes you can't do it. So I have to hand over this to a manager. So this is called escalation. So internal escalation, we have a discussion, we explain the context, management understands. We are showing that we try to solve the problem, but some is out of our range. Then this problem, this impediment becomes what we call a risk. So we escalate this in a risk. So you have this ticket maybe in your Jira system, and you say, and you change the category from impediment to risk, or there are labels for this. And you assign it to the manager. Good for you. In large company, risk is under the control of risk management. It's under the control of the board. So typically here is a commitment, a strong commitment. So the idea is not pushing back, is to be very constructive. And maybe you have to help the management to solve this problem because it's maybe unique. And the idea, but you need this kind of diplomat from the company who is an authority to open the door to another level so you can fix it. So we had this also with another company, part of the AXA group in Belgium. We asked, they had an issue with infrastructure, which was a sub-team. So we asked the director of the infrastructure to come to visit the teams, and they raised the questions. So they tried to solve the problem. So this guy was able to understand our issues, and we understand the context. So we try to figure out a way out. Always everything solved in just communication. But if you hide from communicating, if you hide the information, you're just complaining, this is not constructive, this plays against you. And this is the part of Agile, which I believe is very important, is a key. When I do very, very little missions, and I love to do it just coming 1 day a week. So meaning our costs, 4 or 5 days a month, which is not the big money, to come and support the projects. You understand rapidly where the problems are. You can really help the teams directly. So you are more in the hands-on work than only on the ivory tower, smart ass thinkers, which is just annoying everyone. All right, this is it. Thank you so much. I hope this is helping for you. And if you have questions, feel free to raise up the questions. And this is here how you manage impediments and using impediment backlog. The details are in, you can find a link on my LinkedIn channel. Feel free to join. Thank you so much and have a lovely day. Thank you so much for joining us at We Win Us. We are excited to be on this journey with you as we support your growth as a leader and change maker, helping you build resilient and agile organizations. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd be grateful if you could share it or connect with us on social media. And if you or someone you know has valuable insights to share, please reach out. I'd be thrilled to feature them. Until next time, keep evolving and stay inspired.